Congresswoman, it's good to see you again here.
It's so great to be with you.
Give us an honest assessment right now. Where do you think you stand in this race as we close in on Election Day?
We feel really good about where we are. I have a lot of support from base Democrats, from informed people who really know me, who really know Colin Allred, know our distinctions, know our records. They are with me in record numbers, and that's the typical turnout in a runoff, especially in a low turnout runoff.
You finished behind Allred, though, in the March 3rd primary. What has changed since then, though, besides the calendar?
Well, I think we don't have a competitive Senate race sitting on top of us. That really drove a lot of turnout. And as a Democrat, I was really happy to see that. You know, we had over 20,000 people vote in the Democratic primary that had never voted before. That's really exciting as we come into November. Not so great in your own personal race for a runoff. But you know, it's just the nature of politics. It's the nature of runoff turnout. The turnout was low yesterday. The weather's going to be terrible all week. And those most determined voters who typically vote in a runoff, and we have a lot of support in that group.
If Allred had 2 failed Senate bids, why do you think this race is so competitive?
Because he had 2 failed Senate bids. Because he didn't win and he doesn't have a message and a record to run on that's appealing to voters. You know, he lost ground from where Beto was against Ted Cruz, one of the most despised members of the Senate, because he couldn't articulate a plan for people and he didn't have a record to achieve. And that's when, as I've dug into his record, I realized he didn't really do much in a time when we had a Democratic-controlled House, a Democratic Senate, a Democratic president. That's when Democrats get stuff done. And he didn't do that.
Are you surprised at that? I mean, you asked for his endorsement when you originally ran to succeed him.
Yes, I did, and he gave it to me, and you know, and that's great because I think I have a record to run on. You know, I achieved things in the Texas legislature when I was there. I passed a lot of legislation. I helped kill a lot of legislation. Advanced a lot of things in conjunction with my colleagues. Worked in a team way, and then now in Congress, the same. But he just doesn't have anything. He didn't pass anything.
You and Allred probably have a lot of the same Democratic positions. Tell voters where you guys are most unalike. On what issues?
Well, I would say we have a couple of significant differences. One is staying true to your values. He has flip-flopped on his values, back and forth.
Such as what?
Well, let's just take immigration and ICE as an example. He's for strong immigration enforcement, strong border wall. ICE needs to remain. Oh, now it needs to be abolished. Oh, now it's terrible. Oh, no, I didn't call for that. He's back and forth all over the board based on who he's talking to. I am consistent in my values and what I believe in, regardless of the office that I'm running for. And I think Democrats need that. We have to have people who have a strong moral compass to stay the course in strong headwinds, not flip-flop our positions based on our own political advancements. But this immigration stuff has been a really, really big issue. He voted to allow the eroding of our constitutional protections of due process. He voted basically to say, you know what, convictions don't matter anymore. Innocent until proven guilty, these concepts that we've all grown up with, they don't matter in immigration anymore. We're going to allow Republicans to deport people merely based on accusations. I fundamentally disagree with that. I think that is morally wrong. And he voted to allow that to happen. We have very clear distinctions on some votes. A record, when you put your name on the line, one talk is one thing, but when you actually vote, that's a statement.
Democrats in the state, though, have been criticized a lot for not taking a tougher approach to law and order to the border. Do you think he was just reading the tea leaves at the time?
I don't know what he was doing. What I know is that he abdicated Democratic values. He didn't stand up. I think you can have strong border and still have an appropriate immigration enforcement. You can still follow constitutional law. You can still have due process. You can still have fairness in the system. You don't have to abdicate all of that to have a strong border. We can do both.
One of the things I've heard you attack Colin Allred on is for moving to the right and supporting the Laken-Riley Act, which essentially lets DHS, Department of Homeland Security, detain undocumented immigrants who are accused of crimes, not yet tried on that. You voted for the Corca Act, which combats retail theft, a little different, but DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is the head of that, and it's been criticized for collecting data potentially on these suspects, some who could be foreign actors. Is this that different from the Lake and Riley Act as far as DHS and its collection of information?
It's 100% different. We're talking about whether or not you're going to round somebody up out of their home without a warrant, whether or not you're going to put them on a plane and send them out of this country. It's a completely different situation.
But if DHS is still collecting information, who knows, especially in this administration, what it would do with that information, right?
You know, there's a lot of things that we do government-wise, information-based. We're talking about the same issue with the Foreign Surveillance Act right now, and how, and I just really voted against that because I think Trump is misusing data collection in that context. But I think with respect to Lincoln Riley, what Colin did and how he abdicated his vote to stay away from, we want a due process. We want everyone to have a fair trial. We want everyone to have a fair hearing, and he didn't stand with that.
You described yourself as a consistent opponent to ICE.
Yeah.
What does that mean, though, in practical terms? Would you abolish the agency entirely if given the chance?
No, we have to have immigration and enforcement. But I have, under its current form, it cannot exist. I have voted to defund it every single time the way it's operating. We need border security at our ports, at our airports, at our ports of entry. We have to have immigration enforcement in this country. That's been the case for decades. But what Trump administration, the way that the administration is utilizing ICE, the way that they are dismantling all of our constitutional protections, the way that they are unconstitutionally targeting Hispanics and people of color without any probable cause at all is unacceptable. And I completely denounce it, and I have been a forceful voice against that. And I will refuse to give them one more penny until they fix that.
If voters compare your position and Allred's position on bail, what should concern them the most?
Oh, I can't believe what Colin did on bail. You know, Texas, we have a cash bail system, and it disproportionately affects poor people. And if you get a nonviolent crime, sometimes you might have a bail fee of $1,000 to get out of jail, and they can't pay it. So what happens is they sit in jail for 60, 90, 120 days on a nonviolent offense. And what happens then? They lose their job. They lose their apartment. If they have kids at home, their kids don't have a provider anymore. It's a catastrophic problem because we have private prisons. Greg Abbott and people want to keep people in jail. And so there's been charitable organizations that have rounded up to provide bail support and in these contexts, and churches and other organizations. And Colin Allred voted against voted against them. There's a bill in the Congress that says we're going to over-regulate that like an insurance company and put all these oppressive regulations that essentially dismantle these organizations. And he voted that as he was leaving Congress. There was no reason for him to do that. Because charitable bail, if you get bail, that should be determined of the nature of the offense. Did you commit a violent crime? Are you a flight risk? Are you a risk of repetition? Those are the contexts that judges make to determine, are you bail eligible? How you pay that bail should not determine whether you get out of jail.
This is the biggest race on the Democratic side in Dallas County. Sum up this race in a line or two why you should be the recipient of votes rather than Colin Allred from Dallas Democrats.
I'm effective. I get stuff done. I have the experience, I have the perspective, and my values stay true. I'm fighting on the issues that matter, and I've delivered for people. I have results on healthcare, affordability, housing, wages. I have legislation designed to do all of those things, and I've achieved results in those spaces. People need help. They need people with a plan. They need people that are going to solve their problems, and that is what I'm here to do.
Early voting was kind of slow. I mean, we had weather, we had a number of other issues here. Are you concerned that that might impact turnout for you?
We're seeing our people coming to the polls. I was at the polls all day yesterday. And a lot of people, high five. I took a lot of photos, lots of pictures. I'm with you, Julie. My team had that all across the district. Lots of folks reaching out, posting online. I'm with Julie. And so we're really excited about the support we have out there. And this runoff has just given more time for the district to learn the differences between Colin Allred and myself, and we're earning a lot of votes.
Colin Allred has Jasmine Crockett on his side supporting him. You have James Tallarico on your side. You mentioned a moment ago that this runoff doesn't have the weight of the Senate race on it and may not have the same energy behind it. Is that going to be a challenge, do you think, to get your people to the polls this time?
Yes, we have endorsements. James has endorsed me. Jasmine has endorsed Colin. There's certainly some divisions there. But what I'm really excited about is the breadth of the endorsements that I have. I don't think it's just one endorsement. I have over 120 endorsements in this race, from city council to county officials to state electeds to over 60 members of Congress who have served with both Colin and I, who've seen us up close in the trenches to say she's the better one, she's the colleague we want to have to serve with, and I'm really proud of that.
Is it going to be a challenge to get people out, though, if you don't have the big ticket at the top?
Well, I have a lot experience of a strong ground game, and that's one of the things I'm known for in campaigns. I have a lot of volunteers, great staff. We have a lot of people out. We're out right now on the doors as we speak, and I'll put my ground game against anybody's.
Congresswoman, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.